Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're bringing you a brand new explainer on one of the absolute most conceptually mind-blowing locations on the entire planet of Yaenddarr. We are exploring the dual-layered province of Pinebrooks. Now, if you've been following the lore with us, you already know Yaenddarr is a world completely defined by sharp contrasts. But I gotta tell you, nowhere is that contrast more beautifully realized and honestly more dependent on total symbiosis than right here. We're going to examine exactly how an industrious, grounded society of mortal builders perfectly mirrors and quite literally supports a floating celestial utopia of mythic legends. Okay, let's dive into this. Where in the universe do mortal builders with calloused hands coexist directly with mythic gods? I mean, on most planets, these two demographics would be separated by entire continents or, completely different dimensions. But in Pinebrooks, they're separated by absolutely nothing but altitude. This explainer is going to show you exactly how this incredible vertical society actually functions, tracing it all the way from the deep, dark underground mines straight up to the stratosphere. Here is our roadmap for the ascent today. 1. Welcome to the Springlands. 2. The engine below ground. 3. The hearth of civilization. 4. The kingdom in the sky. And finally, number 5, where gods and legends rest. All right, starting us off, Section 1, Welcome to the Springlands, the sanctuary of Yaenddarr. So while a lot of Yaenddarr is totally dominated by these extreme hostile biomes, think of the chaotic, super dangerous wildling fields, the Springlands serve as this massive grounded buffer zone. It's this gorgeous region of gentle brooks, rolling hills, and this pervasive warmth that just kind of settles right into your bones. It's basically the place where weary wanderers can finally feel safe. Let's move to and see how this builds, because Pinebrooks isn't just one single town within this region, it's actually a 3-tiered ecosystem. At the very bottom, down in the dark, you have the subterranean Dwarven Mines. Above that, resting right on the surface, is the grounded, bustling town of Pinebrooks. And finally, suspended thousands of feet up in the air, you have the floating capital. And here's the kicker. Every single tier relies entirely on the others to survive. Which brings us to Section 2. The engine below ground, the subterranean foundation. See, before we can really appreciate the sweeping beauty up above, we absolutely have to understand the sheer grit down below. I want you to picture this dark, echoing world beneath the soil. It's loud, it's hot, and it never, ever stops moving. Right here, beneath the fertile soil of the Springlands, sits an ancient, expertly carved network of dwarven tunnels. This is literally where the magic meets the metal. Day and night, set to this rhythmic, constant ringing of work chants, dwarven miners are pulling out silver, iron, and these incredibly vital arcane conductive metals. They're also extracting rare stones that are absolutely essential for glyphcraft. This raw, totally unglamorous extraction, that is the absolute lifeblood fueling the resource mills and the entirety of civilization above ground. Moving right along, Section 3, the Hearth of Civilization, Pinebrooks Town. Ascending to the surface, this is the first true settlement travelers are going to encounter after surviving the Springway Path. And yeah, it is a sanctuary, for sure. But please do not mistake sanctuary for some place of lazy luxury. The world here is kind, but it demands relentless, honest, hard work from literally everyone who shows up. In fact, there's a quote that brilliantly captures the town's whole vibe. Grab a shovel, grab an axe, we have work to do. That is the gritty, no-nonsense motto of Construction Junction, the industrial heart of Pinebrooks. When newcomers arrive seeking a fresh start, they aren't sent to a spa to kick back. They are sent straight to the lumberyards and the stone-cutting mills. You arrive with nothing, and you leave with calloused hands and this really profound sense of belonging that's only forged through shared labor. And the town itself is like a giant, perfectly tuned puzzle, categorized into a really bustling diversity of districts. You've got Construction Junction handling all the scaffolding and the timber brought in from the Elysium Forest. Then there's Farmer's Lane, which uses incredibly rich Elysium-filtered water to grow crops like sweetroot and glowing bloom grain. Surprisingly enough, there's actually a super vibrant fashion district where they weave things like razorgrass armor and Elysium silk cloaks. For the magically inclined, the Arcanium acts as a quiet community hub for mages studying glyphcraft. And finally, tucked away is Westbrooks, a secluded haven for the Unix people that acts as this massive repository of intergalactic knowledge. It really is a perfectly tuned engine of both production and culture. Now, Pinebrooks is such a uniquely grounded and effective sanctuary that even cosmic heavyweights use it to hide out. Take Lycaios, for example, the son of the primordial Aeon Celestria. Stripped of his memory and just going by the completely ordinary human named Jack, he lives here, wearing simple builder's garments. The wild thing is, The unique environment of Pinebrooks actually suppresses his immense lunar powers, which lets him lay low, blend right in, and just survive while working side by side with mortal artisans. All right, looking upward now, Section 4, The Kingdom in the Sky, the Grand Reveal. If you were to stand right in the center of Pinebrooks town and look straight up, past the rooftops, past the clouds, you would see the silhouette of a massive celestial citadel just hovering there in the stratosphere. And this visual perfectly illustrates the extreme duality of this province. On one hand, down below, you have a reality built on sweat, wood, stone, dirt under your fingernails, and the constant ringing of hammers. But on the other hand, right above it, you have this ethereal utopia entirely defined by divine resonance, glowing starlight, and sweeping magical architecture. It is the hearth and the heavens, existing simultaneously in the exact same geographic space. So the crucial point is how this kingdom actually stays up there. Unlike a place like the neon city of Cosmosis, which relies on advanced anti-gravity tech and hovering drone wings, the kingdom of Pinebrooks uses zero machines, nothing. It is held aloft entirely by something called arcane pressure. This is the sheer, crushing, magical aura generated by the resident heroes, gods, and mythic avatars living inside the city. Their collective resonance is so unbelievably powerful that it acts as a natural anti-gravity force, keeping the entire massive citadel completely suspended in the sky. And that brings us to our final stop, Section 5, where gods and legends rest, the crown. This floating citadel essentially acts as the protective crown of the region. But trust me, entry is strictly restricted to the vastly powerful. If ordinary folks were to just walk these halls, or conversely, if these gods were to casually stroll through the grounded town below, the sheer weight of their ambient power would literally warp the terrain and alter the weather. Just to give you an idea of the scale of arcane pressure we're talking about, look at the roster of who actually lives here. In the Hall of the Generals, you've got mythic avatars like Mulan, Sun Tzu, King Leonidas, and Julius Caesar organizing armies. Pop over to the Bar of the Gods and you'll find Heracles, Thor, and Sun Wukong throwing back drinks and occasionally getting into colossal showdowns. And over in the Glendale district, you've got figures like Joan of Arc and Robin Hood. It is an absolutely incredible, universe-spanning crossover of power levels, all just living together in this skybound utopia. But I do want to throw in a surprising fact here that's really important to keep in mind. Even in a divine kingdom populated by literally the greatest warriors in history, brutal threats still exist right on the fringes. Take a look at Everfrost Mountain, a territory physically connected to the kingdom. It is a harsh, wildly unforgiving perimeter plagued by cave hyenas, relentless snowstorms, and massive Yeti attacks. It constantly forces the armies of these mythic generals to train, to expand, and to fight off famine and pirate attacks on their coastal lines. Basically, even the gods have to put in the work to maintain their sanctuary. Which leaves us with one final incredibly provocative thought. We just established that the floating kingdom is held aloft entirely by the arcane pressure of the gods and legends who live there, right? So, what happens if the gods are ever called away to a galactic war? Or what if they simply decide to pack up and leave? Does the kingdom fall? Does this beautiful, celestial crown come crashing down onto the humble, hardworking builders of Pinebrookes town directly below? It's a fascinating, terrifying reminder that even the highest heavens rely completely on the grounded laborers below. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. It's been a blast, and I'll see you in the next one.